before, right? So,
Yeah. So you're getting good at it.
no, it's Paul that's good at it.
Oh.
For some reason, I don't have to put in my my Southborough email passcode anymore. It's kind of weird.
You don't have to?
No, I just click on the Zoom link in
Oh.
virtual meetings.
Yeah,
and-
that's all I do is click on
Oh, okay.
the link
'Cause
and the email.
originally, I had to type in all this passcodes and
Oh.
stuff like that.
Oh, I
But
don't have to type those in. I just have to type in my own login.
Okay. Are we ready to call this meeting to order?
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't have Marguerite.
To
No,
read.
I can read the boilerplate though. So
Thank you.
call to order at 7:06 for the Youth Commission Board. That's for Tuesday, January 12th, 2021. I'm not going to read it as fast as Marguerite does. So we'll start with this. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law GLC 30, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Southborough Youth Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Southborough's website at https://southboroughtown.com/. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen to the meeting may do so in the following manner: southboroughtown.com/remote meetings. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will put on Southborough's website an audio or video recording transcript or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Just make sure there is nobody else in the room. Okay. So our first agenda item is to review and approve the minutes from the December 8th meeting. Did we?
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I make a motion to approve the minutes. December 8th, 2020 minutes.
Second.
Okay, I'll run through people's names and you can vote accordingly. Sue Butka.
Aye.
Leslie Haddon.
Aye.
Lauren Ritchie.
Aye.
Beth Dombacher.
Aye.
Sarah Mikas.
I
And I wanted to call you Bob. No, Susan Byer.
Hi. It's his laptop, sorry.
It's okay. I'm going to rename you just because I know I'm going to get that wrong every time. Okay. Great. Moving right along. I've got so many things open here. The director's report for December. Does anybody have any questions on that? I will make a note. Actually, let's maybe do what Beth had suggested the last time, which is to just try to highlight a couple of things. I would say in general, the month of December, it was a shorter month because we had staff had some time off for the holidays and winter break, but still just as busy. We were wrapping up the mortgage and rental assistance program, and I would say holiday giving was a huge undertaking, very different this year. Lots of variables that weren't necessarily anticipated that made it, this whole juggling game of donors and families is always challenging, but made it a little more challenging for that reason. But Christina was involved this year with Shannon's consultation, and the two of them, along with Lisa, who's a volunteer who's been helping with this program for many, many years, assisted with making sure we gathered what we needed for families. So that was a big piece of December. Let's see, I was preparing for the start of interface referral services and also the start of working with a strategic planning consultant and Budner. Both of those things are starting this month in January, but there was some legwork that needed to happen before that. And just as a reminder, both of those things are grant funded opportunities from the Southborough Community Fund. So interface has been paid for and starts this month. And
That's great.
So I was wondering about that.
Is that a lot of what you were doing in December under referral support, gathering information together to give to Interface? Or is that just you needed to do that because you didn't have Interface in place?
In fact, I don't,
Can't hear you.
oh, why?
I don't
couldn't
know.
hear you.
Far away, maybe.
Oh, huh. Can you hear me
Can hear
okay
you.
now? Weird.
Yeah.
No, that was work we were doing for people who were looking for referrals, because we don't have interface in place. The contract with Interface Referral Services starts January 1st. However, the actual line for residents to start using doesn't happen until the beginning of February. And that's because the contract doesn't start, the staff at Interface doesn't start working with us until January. And what we do in the first month is, what they're working on is a lot of marketing materials, but what we're working on is trying to work with community stakeholders to set up a informative kickoff event to really fill them in on what the service is and make sure that they have all their questions asked and answered. And we're also trying to gather go-to providers that not only we often refer people to, but that, people like the school adjustment counselors or somebody from the police might refer people to. So we're trying to gather all of that information and share it with Interface to make sure that there are no providers that should be on the list aren't, if that makes sense. So so that's the real legwork is really starting now in January, but there were a few pieces that we were preparing for in December. And then same thing with the strategic planner, and there were a few things that I was doing in December, but again, the work is really starting now this month in January. So we'll have more information to share with you for sure in the January director's report.
Our
I was wondering
interface,
about that.
I'm sorry, our Interface contract started January 1, but we don't have the line set up until February 1st. Do we get that additional month tacked on the other end, or?
That's part of the contract because they're doing, and that's work that's outlined in the contract, that it doesn't start because there's a lot of legwork that has to happen with the community before they can actually
I see.
be ready to field those phone calls.
Okay.
Let me just look at the director's report to see if there's anything else.
Just one more clarification. You mentioned a kickoff. Was that to roll it out to the community of Southborough?
That is not. That is to roll it out to the community stakeholders. So the school principals,
Oh,
the
okay.
school adjustment counselors, making sure that they know how to use it, and how it can be helpful and who's the point of contact. And they have an opportunity to ask all of their questions so that when we start marketing it out to the rest of the community, they're actually going to be ambassadors, so to speak, for the service, and be sharing that with residents right alongside us.
Okay.
So, and this is my understanding of how this rolls out, being that this is a first time for us. I'm not 100% sure on all of the details, but I'm in frequent communication with our contact at Interface to go through all of this.
Is that just one person, Sarah?
She's the contact person for me for right now, but there's a team of people that works at Interface to field these calls. And then I would say the other thing that we have been kind of working on, that Shannon's kind of been overseeing, is, this is a weird year. It's not typical in terms of how we've spent our budget, but we've kind of taken a look at what we have available. We have a number of people that we'd like to work with for a speaker series. We're really thinking, I think the impetus for having this conversation was thinking about Mental Health Awareness Month. So I outlined for you in the director's report our plans for a speaker series with a number of different folks that we've worked with in the past. Some of them you might recognize, but so we're very excited about that. And that's the other thing that's kind of front and center right now that we did a little bit of work for in December and are working more on now in November.
So I had noted that you had listed 6 speakers, which I thought was really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, like you already said, were they booked? Are they going to be online seminars? And I'm wondering if repeat speakers will have fresh content, or will it be, similar to what they've spoken about before?
Well, the only one that's a repeat is Carrie Toole, and we are working with her on trying to, Devorah Heitner. She came, if you guys remember, she's the author of Raising Digital Natives. She's from Chicago, and she flew out to Southborough. What was that? I forget what year that was. But she had several books available for people. So I would say, Shannon, I don't know if you have anything to add, because she's been the person sort of in contact with Devorah, whether the topic is going to be similar to what she covered before, or if it's going to be different.
It will be, I would say, sort of similar. It was 2016 that she came out last time, so quite a while ago, but it's a fresh take on it in that our youth are so ingrained in computer use right now. So much of school is online, and some of socialization is happening online. So what she says is quite, even if it's the same topic, it has different implications in this day and age. So this day and age.
And Megan, you might be able to better recall. I apologize because I've got a lot of things swimming around in my head, but Carrie, we were talking with her about potentially doing something that's for teens and parents together. If that's, what was your conversation with her?
Yeah, I think, I don't know if we were going to tweak it now that we're thinking of having her actually in May. So I don't know if we're going to get it all, but we had been talking about doing something geared towards parents and teens, so something that they could go to together, which is different than what she's done in the past. In the past, everything's been more geared towards just parents. But we wanted to switch it up a little bit. It will still be similar topics, but just with a bit of a different shift as to who the audience will be.
Mhm. But everybody else, John Mettleman is somebody we had on Coffee Talk, but he has a talk called The Secret Life of Teens and Tweens. He's actually got quite a few of them, and he is a former Youth and Family Service Director from the town of Needham. And so now he's doing these speaking engagements and consultations. And Donna Shea is the founder of the Peter Pan Center, and she has a speaking engagement called Love Has No Limits. Did I do this wrong? Love Has No Limits or Boundaries?
Limits.
Limits. I put boundaries. That's not correct. Love has no limits, but parenting does. And then Melissa Clark, who also was on Coffee Talk with us, she is the co-founder of the GSA Link organization. She's going to be providing a LGBTQ plus ally training. So for people who want to learn how to be an ally for that community, she has if you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend going back to Coffee Talk and watching her episode. She was one of the first, actually the first guest we had on a live show. But you could get acquainted with her and her personal story and then hear more about her organization. So quite a few different things, but really trying to offer support to parents and teens quite a bit through this series, because we're hearing a lot from both. So
the talk from John Mettleman.
Yep.
Sorry,
That's okay.
was being funded by a grant through the Kyle Care Foundation. So I had to look up what that was, and seems like a really cool, organization, based on what it is, but they're trying to do some really great stuff. But I was wondering how you got connected with them. How did you hear about that they offer grants?
So John, we're going to pay for part of John through our budget, and the other half will come through Kyle Cares. John is now working with another organization. It's like organization on organization called Mind Your Mind, which is almost like a speakers bureau for mental health stuff. And they help with marketing and any part of it that you need. The woman that he put me in touch with from Mind Your Mind, in turn, put me in touch with Jim Johnson, who's the president of Kyle Cares. And they were totally psyched about what we're doing and what we do, and said, yep, we totally want to fund that. So they're funding half of it.
Nice.
It was not even something that we, it was like, here, let me introduce you to this person. Oh, I think, and then it was great how it happened.
And he and I are meeting on Thursday, Zoom meeting, just to talk about what else they can do for Southborough and, Northborough too, since it's a regional school. And, because at first he wanted to be connected to the school. And I said, I don't mean to be the bodyguard or the gatekeeper, but they're pretty busy. And we have, a tight relationship with the school. So, and we provide those kinds of services. So, can you and I work together? And he said, yeah, sure, let's do that. So I'll report back next month after I talk to him and see what other trouble I can dig up. And
Great. Sounds like it was a very positive experience.
I just want to point out too that the budget information that I provided was actually from January 8th. At the time that I was trying to finalize the information on the director's report, so much of it had changed and it was causing some confusion on my end. So I just decided to give you the absolute most up-to-date information I had. So the text outlined in the first couple of pages of the director's report are just about activity for the month of, so the first three or so pages are just the activity from December, but the budget information I provided you is as of January 8th, which was last Friday.
If there's a line item from the budget that's not being used, can it be used in other areas? Obviously, the travel mileage is something that you're not doing right now. Can that be used for contracted services?
Yes,
or
and
anywhere else?
that's exactly why we're doing the speaker series, because again, it's been a little hard on my end to predict. It's not a typical year.
Right.
So it's been a little harder to predict how money's going to be spent. So I kind of was a little conservative leading up to the midpoint of the year, and now trying to use some of those funds, knowing that we can. So it's a bottom line budget, which
Okay.
means that even though the money is earmarked for mileage, it can be used in other places as long as we don't go over the total amount we have.
Sounds good.
Are there any other questions on the director's report?
Well, you guys did some training, so I was, interested in hearing about that. And if it was interesting, or if you had information to impart, or, how you use the training, so just.
Sure. I have to excuse myself for a second, but Shannon and Megan, would you guys be willing to chime in to answer
Yeah.
Beth?
Because Megan did winter and COVID or something, right? Did you learn something good to tell us about how to prioritize self-care?
Well, that was really, it was definitely geared towards like mental health clinicians and talking about how important it is for us to walk the walk. And everything that we are talking to clients about in terms of self-care, it's really critical for us to be doing that ourselves. And there was a lot of focus on the basics, which I feel like, Shannon, we have been talking about so much recently, with like coffee talk and just in general, but like the basics of making sure that you're sleeping well, getting in some sort of exercise, eating well, and just kind of like taking care of those basic needs first. And then also making time for other kinds of self-care in terms of like, whether, for me it's reading, but for everyone else, it's different. But so that was kind of the gist of what that was, just reinforcing the importance of, as a mental health professional, how sometimes we put that stuff aside and it's hard to find time in the middle of a work day, but it's really important, even if it's just, taking 15 minutes here and there throughout your day to, take a mindfulness break or go for a quick walk or something like that. But even if it's just little moments of self-care, that's just as meaningful as taking like 3 hours of self-care. So.
Great.
I don't know what else was said, but Voices Against Violence, we approached there actually doing the first workshop out of the series on healthy relationships. And one is geared, that's part of the speaker series, but one is geared towards helping parents and teens work on their relationship and just learning about what healthy relationships look like. And then the second part of that is supporting young people in having healthy, intimate relationships. But they, as part of their, and they're also doing one on media literacy, which is helping young people navigate the media and the norms around relationships and boundaries that are portrayed in the media, and really becoming literate with what you see and looking at media with a critical eye. But as part of the package that they were offering to us, they also gave us a staff training on all of the services that they provide. So that has already happened. We had them come to our staff meeting. When was that? Before the break, and then we're working with them to deliver the other pieces to the community. And then Shannon, you attended a training, right? Oh, you actually did.
Yeah, mine was on. Yeah, I'm in the middle of doing one and went to one. One was on health benefits, and I think that one was better suited for providers or case managers who actually get people into mass health plans. It was helpful for me to know the bottom line is that there are a lot of different mass health plans out there, and probably one will fit a family if they need it. Was it worth my time? I'm not sure, but it was positive. And then the other one that I'm doing is through the University of Michigan, but it's an edX course. And it's super heavy in theory assessment for injury prevention, which I think as we move toward trying to bring in some suicide prevention programming and just trying to learn as much as I can and get ready for our next steps.
Great. Are there any other questions on the director's report?
I have one quick question about the substance use diversion program. I was wondering, is this a youth and family services program, an outside program? I didn't know if this is something we're presenting to the community on our own or someone else is taking the lead.
Yeah, this is a newer thing for us. Megan and I attended a training on adolescent community reinforcement approach, ACRA, which is put on by the state, the Bureau of Substance Abuse Services. And we decided after attending that training that we wanted to use some of what we learned to offer a substance use diversion program. So this is being put on by us, Megan and I, and it's designed for youth that, so it's not designed for people who have a long history of substance use. This is for young people who are maybe have an emerging concern or have a hiccup of some kind, and we're trying to divert them away from going down another path. We were hoping actually to roll this out back in March or April of 2020, but that didn't happen. Surprise, surprise. The high school, so this program, referrals have to come from the high school or from the Southborough Police. So we do not advertise this program because, you could see us getting into a little bit of trouble where we might have a parent who insists that their child needs it. It's really designed to sort of be in lieu of some sort of consequence. So, if a student was caught, with something at school or some, on the weekend, police were called to a house and, there was an issue, both of those entities can refer a young person to our program. And there's specific criteria. They have to be between the ages of 14 and 18. This has to be somebody who doesn't have a long history or wasn't caught with the intent of distribution, because that's a whole other sort of approach. It's a work in progress as this is new for us. We do have a couple of clients that are partaking in the program right now. I think I have nothing but positive things to say about it. It's a very positive approach. We take a look at a young person's life. We assess. We do something called a happiness scale, where we look at all different parts of their life and we try to create a life that is so great that they have no desire to go down that path anymore. And you know, we do as much as we can in the time that we have with young people, but we try to reinforce pro-social activities and try to equip them with skills to stay away from things that jeopardize their health or might cause them to get into any kind of trouble.
So how is it implemented?
It's-
Is it like one-on-one or is it online or?
It's one-on-one online.
It has to be.
No, but I didn't know if it was a program that they, you know, went through
Mhm.
like the ethics thing that we have to do.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
no. They meet with us, you know, so it's one-on-one. It's not a group thing because it's so individualized for the particular participant, very much on purpose. And so they meet one-on-one with us, and it's a total of 10 sessions. Some of the sessions involve parents or caregivers. And then once they've completed all 10 sessions, they get a certificate of completion, which they can then return to their school. And, you know, it's up to the school if they are doing some sort of contingency plan, like, you know,
Yeah,
you might have to
in lieu
complete the
of
program and yeah,
It's
in lieu of suspension or something like that.
So it's a more proactive approach instead of just a punishment without any guidance or anything like that.
Right. And what would normally happen, you know, a student might get suspended, or if it was police involvement, they might have to go to court. The hope is that, you know, we will divert people. This will be a first response, and then, you know, in lieu of those steps, and hopefully steer somebody in a different direction.
Sounds pretty labor intensive. Is it something that you have to create? Obviously, it's tailored for each individual, but are there certain steps in each session that you try to address?
Yes, and we have a curriculum. So it's a little, we have a little bit of customizing to do. I should add that this is ACRA informed. For anybody who's familiar with ACRA, it's quite intensive if you're following it 100% faithfully. We are using some of what we learned from this training, and we have the curriculum, and we're using that in our sessions, but we've deviated from it a little bit to incorporate a little bit of counseling here and there too. But it is a little bit labor intensive up front, but because this is, you know, our first opportunity to roll it out. But, you know, once you become familiar with it, it's really not going to be.
Sounds great. I hope I never have to use it.
I just have one comment. By requiring a referral from either the school or the police department, is there a population of kids that fall through the cracks that could use this, that, you know, rather than wait until there's a huge problem where the kid is getting suspended or gets arrested? Like, for instance, if there was somebody in the community, I don't fortunately know anybody offhand, but use it, could they go to you directly or go to
They
the police
can.
and say, I think this is a problem?
They
How
can't-
could I?
People come to us all the time if they have concerns about substance use for their son or daughter, and there's no stopping anybody from still doing that. But a formal referral to this program has to come from the school or the police, because it's designed to be, you know, it's up to those entities how they're using it, but it's designed to be as a instead of some other consequence. So that's why there's a certificate of completion and so on. But they can still come to us to get that support if that's of concern.
Okay, I see.
Okay.
Question concerning the grant balances, and I won't spend a lot of time on that. I thought it looked great. It says total earmarked funds. What about non-earmarked funds? Are there other funds which have not been earmarked in this account or not?
Well, this is, we are keeping track of the earmarked funds. So there is probably money in the Friends of account that is not earmarked, and that no, I don't know what the amount is currently.
Okay, that's Kathy Cook, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're only tracking our grant balances because those are the ones you have to report on and keep track of.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Next time, can you extend out just the final column? I could see that I'm an accountant, so I like to see everything like Beth, that everything totals and crossfoots and everything. So total earmarked funds, I did the math and everything worked out. But, so you're starting with a balance of 59,000, funds spent 38,000, and then funds coming in 14,000. So it all totals to the 36,000 up on the bottom. The right-hand column is all I'm talking about.
Yes. I don't know if I 100% understand, but maybe you and I can
We can talk
touch base offline and you can tell me what you mean. Does that
Okay,
sound
that's fine.
Okay.
Just one last thing, I might have just forgot, but what was the 10,533 and 46 cents spent on in the emergency fund? Is this fund spent within FY21?
Wouldn't that be all the
All
emergency fund
Is there,
Plus,
that you helped residents with? Is that what that is?
Yep. Those are all emergency fund requests.
Yeah.
So that, just as a reminder, FY21 started July 1st of 2020. And that doesn't include, the mortgage and rental assistance program or holiday giving. That's outside of that. Okay. I do want to move on to the FY22 budget update. So we received, and I apologize for not having sent this to you all sooner. We received I can't find you. Where are you all? There you are.
It's hard to believe a year has gone by.
Yeah.
Right.
We received a memo from Brian Valentine stating that the selectmen did not approve, as it stands with everything that town departments are asking for, it would be a 9% tax increase, which the selectmen were not comfortable with. So they've gone back to the town finance team and asked them to talk with us as department heads and engage in an exercise. And this will probably sound familiar to you as something that we do every year. Actually, I'm going to share my screen if that's okay. Can everybody see this?
Yep.
Yeah.
So what they wanted us, the exercise they wanted us to engage in is to take the current FY22 request and adjust it so that the tax increase for the town would be 2%, and then do another adjustment to see what it would be at if it was 5% for each department. So here we have, I wish I could highlight this. Can I? Yes. So this is the Youth Commission here. And if we did a 2% tax increase for the town, now just to be clear, this is not a 2% of our request, but rather what would our number look like if the tax increase to the town was just 2%? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that would be the 65 or the 268,000. Oh, no, I'm sorry. What am, oh, oh, the
260
cut would be 6,500.
Here, I'll go through. So the FY22 column B is what our request was, 268,276, which carries over into column D. Column E is the percent. I don't
Of
know
the whole
what
budget.
yeah. So if it's a 2% tax increase for the whole town, it would cut our budget by $17,117.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yes.
Uh-huh.
If it was a 5% tax increase for the town, it would still have to cut our budget by $6,581.
Okay, so we have to come up with that, where we're going to take that money from?
Yes. For the
This
purposes
is,
of
this
this
is just an
exercise.
exercise though, again, right?
It is an exercise, but they want to see what it would do to departments if we had to do this. So I did go ahead, and we don't really have a lot of meat on the bone. I'm going to stop sharing for a second and pull up. Let's see. I had this open. Okay, and now I'm going to share my screen again. Now I have to apologize because I am not an Excel guru by any means. So column G is our request for this year without doing any adjustments, and this is what the percentage increase would have been. So I went over here and I adjusted the numbers for a 2% tax increase for the town, cutting at $17,117. And then I also did it over here for a 5% tax increase for the town, cutting it by $6,581. So really, because there's not a lot of meat on the bones, the only place we can take it from would be this new line item, which includes interface referral services for the next year for FY22.
What else is in that line item, Sarah?
The only other item in there is the clinical consultation and my supervision. That's the only
Okay.
other thing that we use that line item for currently.
So potentially Friends of could pick up some of those costs
Potentially.
if necessary.
I do want to mention two things that are on my radar that I don't have answers to right now. So one is, I know that various parties, including members of the selectmen, the town finance team, and advisory, have said that they think interface is a great idea, but would like to see it line up with the fiscal year. So does that make sense to people? Because right now we're in a calendar year contract, January through December. And so
And we
this
talked, we
month,
talked about this, right?
Mhm.
To get it to the calendar year, Friends could maybe make up the difference? Did we talk about?
not to get it to the calendar year, but to get it to the fiscal year.
Okay,
So that it would
okay.
be a July 1st contract, July 1st to June 30th contract, which is more in line with the town's budget. One option, I did talk with my contact over at Interface about the prospect of us having this year-long contract for 2021 that's paid for through the grant,
Mhm.
but that in January of 2022, the town covering the cost of a 6-month contract to get us up to the end of June 30th, which would inevitably cost less. And then in the 2023 budget, we would budget for a full year. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I get kind of
Yes.
crazy. It's kind of crazy
Yeah,
making
no,
following all of this, but
So you
Sure.
spoke to Interface about that and they,
I put it on their radar, but the problem is at this stage in the game, I don't have any definite information to tell you. We've kind of been focused on trying to roll out the current contract. I need to revisit this conversation with them because it has implications for the current conversation about FY22.
Yeah.
So it's on the radar. It will happen, but I don't have any information to give you right now.
One thing at a time.
Yep. The other thing I'd like to mention is that I did share with the superintendent's office that we were able to acquire this contract for FY21, and his response was full support of this service and requested a meeting to talk about FY22. I don't know what that means, and I don't want to speak for him, but he did indicate that he feels strongly in support of this service continuing. And so there's a possibility that we might be able to share the cost. It's still money that comes out of the town, whether it's coming from the school department or from us, but perhaps there's money in the school's budget that already, that's sort of flexible that could be used to pay for part of this contract. I don't know, but.
I'm presuming this is just servicing Southborough residents because we're paying for it. In that case, would we also get money from Northborough?
Northborough already has Interface and has for the last year. So we wouldn't get any money from Northborough. Northborough students would be referred to the Northborough hotline. Southborough would be referred to the Southborough hotline.
And the schools don't give anything to Northborough right now, right? Northborough is funding that on their own?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a little bit hard. I think we can engage in this exercise and pair it with a memo explaining that we're still exploring some other options. I don't know if anybody, I would love to hear from you all on, unless you can see some other place we should take this money out of. I really don't.
What's the $1,000 within the salaries?
That's for longevity pay.
Okay.
So-
And then we can't see what the categories are on the
No.
left, but could you just tell?
Oh, there we go.
Training seminars. Okay. Miscellaneous contracted services, is that, oh no, the 1,000 is printing, okay. Okay. Well, you know more better than us, whether there's any space to take anything out of any of those other line items.
I mean, travel is hard because we don't know what the next year is going to be like, but we should operate as if we can, so that we have that option. Without that, we wouldn't be able to see students in school at all. We wouldn't be able to we wouldn't be able to do a lot of things. So any of the things that Christina does currently, where she's traveling back and forth, delivering things to residents, we wouldn't be able to reimburse her, and legally we have to. So
Yeah, I don't think, I don't think we should do that.
And
Absolutely.
it actually looks like you've already taken like 1,300 out from that line. Why
Yeah.
was 2020 so high?
because we travel a lot. And this was kind of a gamble. We didn't really know what to predict this year, but with Megan, myself, and sometimes Shannon traveling within Southborough, this is all three of us for the year. That's typically what it has been. This
Do you
is
get
these
a
other.
reimbursement, mileage reimbursement, or?
Yep, that's where that money comes from.
Okay.
Yep. So if people have to be reimbursed for their mileage, and it comes right out of this line item.
So Sarah, please review again quickly for me in FY 2022 proposed. What is the line item other charges and expenses, the 32,000? What does that include?
This is a total of all of these.
Oh, everything. Okay. All right.
So this here is a total of the salaries.
Salaries. All right.
And then this is a total of all of these.
You don't have much wiggle room. I
don't think so either.
You're pretty bare to the bone, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are you going to chip away $500 here and there?
Right?
I-
Even if we did do that, it's still not gonna. We're still gonna have to take some money out of this
Yeah.
contracted services.
How much of that 25,000 is interface, Sarah?
20,000.
Oh, okay. And the other 5,000 is just,
for
it's,
the clinical consulting and
Oh.
supervision.
Yeah, I mean, those are pretty much necessities. I guess we'll just, I don't know. It's really a challenge.
Do we know, are things going to be bumped out again like they were last year, where we're going to town meeting outside? Or when is this all due? When is the final budget due?
Well, I'm not sure about when the warrant closes. I think
Yeah, that's what I mean.
they're operating under I think their plan is to operate as if it's happening in March.
Okay.
So being prepared for that, but being flexible. This particular activity is due on Thursday. So I need to submit that to them on Thursday. And again, I would do so letting them know what implications that would have on our budget, and also indicate that there's still some unresolved information that we really can't, that what our request might actually change based off of what we learn from interface or from the school department. So
I like your idea of trying to parcel out just paying for throughout the fiscal year to put them both the contracts in line with the fiscal year.
Yeah.
As long as you spell that out very clearly in your cover letter or whatever attaches to this, so that they know we're not willing to give up interface. You're putting in a lot of time investment. We're losing a whole month, like to set it up, we're losing a month in a sense. So we don't want to do all that and then only have it for 11 months and then have it go away because it's not in the budget. So
right.
And I think I hope I'm not, I think there's a lot of support for this too. I know they're asking everybody to do this because things are tight, but like I think Leslie said, or Sarah said, you guys would know best. Yeah, I don't see where else you would take it.
Yeah, all I can think of is your cost sharing idea, which I like a lot. I mean, a lot of this, like referral services, is a social service, and it's also a public health issue. I don't know, maybe could we do cost sharing with the the police department. I don't know. We might have to get creative. I don't know. You know, if this diverts activity from another town service and helps them, I'm just trying to think out of the box at this point in time.
And like we said, this is an exercise. So if you did this and we're all listening tonight with a cover letter, you know, this is not what you'd prefer, obviously.
Yeah. And I'd be happy to send that along to you once it's completed. So I think for the purposes of tonight, if you all could just take a vote on that plan and that these figures look okay, unless you disagree that you want me to take the money from elsewhere. I did not want, you know, I welcome your input, but I did not want to touch our salaries or personnel at all.
No.
So,
Right.
And again, there's not a lot of meat on the bone here. So,
Okay, I move to, how
Approve.
should I say?
Approve.
Approve the budget as written for now. Is that correct? Or to submit this budget by Thursday? Somebody help me.
As presented to us tonight.
I think it's the two options that we need to be able to approve. And I don't think they need to be approved separately, but the new proposed budget's based on a 2% and 5% increase.
I second that motion.
all right, I'm going to stop sharing just so I can see who's here. Okay, Sue Butka,
Aye.
Lauren Ritchie,
Aye.
Beth Dombacher,
Aye.
Leslie Haddon,
Aye.
Sarah Mikas,
Aye.
Susan Byer.
Aye.
Okay. And I don't know if everybody's comfortable with the memo, including, that this is not, going back to our original request is the priority, and that we hope to figure out some of these other pieces as we go. I'll try to get you guys updates as soon as I can on that. Any other questions about the budget? No.
Nope.
Okay. Let's move on. Leslie, do you have anything to say about Friends?
Just that I reached out to Christina and she informed me that the holiday giving thank you notes had gone out, with the exception of the ones that were done through the 100 Women group, because she's still tracking the information from the PayPal account and matching it, I guess, to what Kathy Cook has. But I do have firsthand knowledge that my neighbor received one and was very impressed. She loved it. She thought it was really nice, very well done. The thank you cards that you had printed up. She said it was very impressive and much nicer than the traditional letterhead that you usually get a thank you note on.
Awesome.
I have a picture on my phone. I'll try to bring it up. I'm not sure how it'll look, but yeah. And then you already covered the update on the grant balances. Sarah and I are going to be meeting offline to kind of talk about if I can be of assistance to kind of reconcile that to the information that Kathy Cook's office is tracking, because she handles all the money for the Friends group. So, but that's another matter. I'll have an update on that next time. And I'll probably have met with the Friends group. I will have met with the Friends group before our next board meeting.
Leslie, when is that?
The Friends meeting? I don't know. I'm waiting to see if Sarah wants to join, and then I'm gonna schedule it.
Okay.
We don't have a date yet.
Okay, thank you.
I did respond to that email, Leslie, but we can talk. We'll chat tomorrow.
Okay. Sorry, I might not.
That's okay. No worries.
Yeah, I don't think you guys are going to be able to see this. Let me see. The front of the card was really cute. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know how to share this.
Hold it up to the
Other than holding it up, you probably can't see that terribly well. It's reversed, but
Yeah.
anyway, it has the logo. It just says thank you. And that's the outside of the card, right? And then it opens up and there's a typed note on the inside. So it's very nice.
Very nice.
I
So you
know,
can tell
she's,
Christina that. All her.
I will,
off.
And I think she's having specific ones printed up for 100 women.
Okay, yeah, she mentioned that.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
So I checked out the Friends website today because I think there was something in the minutes or something that made me think, oh, I should go check the Friends website. It said something about Kathy Cook was going to update it or something. Where did
I don't think she's
where
gotten
did I
to
read
that
that? No, it still has Lori's name on it. It's like really old. So I hope that can get done. I don't know how to do it. So I'm sorry.
I tried, and Shannon and Megan will remember. I tried getting a student from Algonquin who was in a graphic design class to help with that. Then we had a volunteer. Do you guys remember there was a woman named Barbara who knew how to use WordPress? So I tried to get her to help, and I don't know, but it is on Kathy Cook's radar and something that she plans to accomplish. So
She's a very busy woman.
Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
sure.
Her admin's great though too, so maybe her admin can do something with it.
And then I liked your Facebook page today also. The Friends
That-
Facebook page.
That Lauren and another friend created that. Yeah.
Well, now you have 27 friends instead of 26.
Oh, well, I like you too. And I'll get all my friends up yeah.
The last item on the agenda is any other business which shall properly come before the board. I did get an email today from Algonquin. And I actually wonder if this is something that should be on the Friends agenda versus the boards, because it's funded through Friends. But at any rate, this group has talked about it in the past, but they're wondering if we're interested in offering a scholarship again this year. And unfortunately, we just got the email today and they're looking for a response by January 28th. So
Oh my goodness.
we won't have had another board meeting, although I don't know how firm they are with that deadline. I'm sure we could, have another board meeting in February if need be, because I don't know if the Friends group needs to talk about it first to see what they have available in their budget, and maybe they can just decide. But
Yeah.
but maybe
add that to the
it's
agenda.
worth weighing
Okay.
in to help inform the Friends decision.
Could you remind me what we did last year, Sarah?
We did one scholarship for $500.
One for 500?
Make sure that that's correct.
Was that the Ellen Piontek or
Yes.
Lori Sugarman?
We
No.
really only did one. I thought we did two last year, but last year was such a, who knows?
Yeah. Okay. I think that shouldn't be a problem. I'd like to see that continue, but I can't speak on behalf of the whole Friends group. But I guess, I can put it out to the officers and vote that way if we need to get a vote. I'm sorry, what was that date again, Sarah?
January 28th. I could actually forward the email over.
January
to you.
28th?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, and then we can vote even outside of the Friends group.
Yeah. Does this group have an opinion? If that helps weigh the decision in any way?
I think we should do it.
Oh, I definitely think we should do it. And I like just the one scholarship for $500. It actually is a significant amount that could go towards books or whatever, as opposed to two smaller ones.
Okay.
Okay.
Does anybody have anything else before we adjourn? Guys, this is
Well, I just want to say that this really isn't board business, but I'm just so grateful and thankful that we're all safe and in sight of everything that happened this week. And
I second that.
Me too.
I third that.
I'm just kidding. Sorry.
You're
I
right.
agree.
The world is a crazy place. Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
We can find safety on Zoom.
That's true. That's true.
Hey, who's gotten a vaccine?
Let's adjourn.
Yeah, we better adjourn before we
Yeah.
get too off topic.
Nobody else has anything under any other business?
No.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Move to adjourn.
Second,
Okay. I never know if we have to vote on this.
I
Sue,
know.
Butker,
Aye.
Lauren Ritchie,
Aye.
Beth Dombacher,
Bye.
Leslie Haddon,
Aye.
Sarah Mikas,
Aye.
Susan Byer.
Aye.
Okay, beautiful. All right, I don't know that we can continue to chat. I have to adjourn the meeting to chat about vaccinations and whatnot. So I invite you to extend an email or some other mode of communication outside the board meeting to say hello to one another. But it was so nice to see you all. Have a good
Yeah,
night.
nice to
You
see
too. It's great to see you guys. Happy